So, good evening, good evening, good evening. We are back again, and welcome to another Real Talk podcast. Kenny is backstage. As soon as he's off the phone, there you go. He's in. You're in, Kenny. You're in. How are you, mate?
I'm all good. You know, believe it or not, right? Aha! Have you unmuted me?
Yeah.
Oh, thank God! I just saw him mute me. Right, it's a long story. I want to apologise for my tardiness. You know, me and technology are not the best of friends. I saved it in my notes, and then I accidentally deleted it, so I had to go back to your email you sent me.
No worries, mate. No worries. How are you, Jez?
I'm very well, mate. I'm very well. Still angry. Threw away the FA Cup. And what really frustrates me, Lee and Kenny, is we see people say that we can't compete on two fronts because we haven't got the squad. Well, that's interesting because now we've thrown away the FA Cup. We are still competing on two fronts. We've got the Europa League. And we would have been competing on three fronts. Or is that something we shouldn't be doing in this modern day of football? I say no. I say we should be competing. And that makes the club bigger, better and stronger. I just wish at times some of this fan base would actually realise that being in top flight football is actually about winning. Or am I wrong? I don't know. I was brought up with the belief that if you want to compete, you compete to win. Facts, I think.
I totally agree, mate. I'm still a little bit peed off. I'm doing a show with Dan Potts in 45, 50 minutes. We're going to talk about that as well. And then I'm on with Henry Wright. It could be worse. We could support that lot. And they can't even get a deal done for a player that's agreed to sign from, which is kind of funny. Yeah. But yeah, let's just start off with that. Kenny, let me come to you first. You've obviously seen us lift the FA Cup many, many times at the stadium, watching it live in the finals or just watching it on TV. We've obviously got a rich history in this competition. And we changed quite a lot of players, 5, 6 different players. Listen, we can say Trossard was equally as good or thereabouts as good as Martinelli's been for Arsenal. He is a good signing. He's a great player. So I'm not going to say that that's a weakened player there, but the backline was a weakened backline compared to what we've been playing recently in the league. Why do you think he did that? Listen, people say we played well, we played great, we're in the game. We had 2 shots on target, Kenny, and both of them were in the first 20 minutes. Other than that, we didn't really create a great deal. Man City weren't great either. It was a weird game to watch. It was almost like both teams really couldn't be bothered, if I'm honest. And we're just trying to get through the 90 minutes without any injuries, which in the end we both did because Thomas Partey's not injured apparently. But what do you make of it all, mate?
Well, first and foremost, the manager explained why he made the changes. He's made a change. He said he made the changes because he said that he's got internationals in the team. He's got first teams. He's got to said that he owes Tierney a game, and so Tierney's one of the players. If you look at players that he owes a game, Tierney's one of those players who was his first choice last season. And also he's talking about, Trossard as well. Obviously, in any other, arguably Trossard could be a player, who could easily play in that first team. So that's another reason why he's picked that scratch side. I think in my opinion, I don't know his mind, but to pick someone like Rob Holding, he's picked his cup player. So Matt Turner's a player that he rates. So he's mixed it up between his cup players and the players that he knows that has to play in that game, like players like Thomas Partey, Xhaka, Eddie Nketiah is going to play anyway because we just haven't got another striker. So that's probably one of the reasons why he's picked that team. He's gone half and half, but he's kept Xhaka and Partey because it's Man City. He's played Trossard because Trossard's a proven Premiership player and international with probably more experience in football than Martinelli. Kieran Tierney is his go-to man. So he would argue that, I've picked a strong team. But in saying that, the fact is, City, the only change City really made was their goalkeeper, Ortega. Cancelo is just throwing his toys out of the pram, and as we speak, he's in Munich signing a loan deal because for some reason Cancelo, who's probably been their best player for the last 2 seasons, can't get a game. So, he would have been probably he would like to have been like the third player to come into that team. How he doesn't get a game, that's City's affair. But really and truly, Mikel was clearly got one eye in the league, but he had another foot into thinking, you know what? Because it's Man City, I can't just let them, thrash my team. I've got to, pay them respects and see if I can win it with that side. But ultimately, it's disappointing because City paid us so much respect to the extent that they didn't go gun ho. We managed to easily neutralise De Bruyne and Godwin, and I think we played Haaland well, and I think that if we were much more braver in the probably last third, especially in the second half, I think we could have done something. So just think, if he played his full team and they played with the confidence we've seen them playing all season, I think City would have there for the taking. I really do think, because we're the ones who potentially play with a lot of energy, pass the ball quicker, move in numbers. City were trying to play their normal style, which hasn't gotten too well this season because they lost 3 games. It's slow, and quick in the last third. We were ready for that. So I'm just as disappointed and upset as everyone else, because I really wanted this FA Cup, because I understand and I've got a great respect for people saying, yeah, the league's more important. Respect you, not criticism, respect you. But all I'm trying to say is that if we want to prove we're the best team in the country, wouldn't it be nice to actually win the double? Because that's what we did in '98 when we proved we were the best team in the country, when we picked Man United for the title. We didn't just beat them in the league. We won the double, which meant there was no dispute we were the best. The same when Man United the season afterwards, even though they beat us one point, they won the treble. There's no dispute they're the best. And that's what I wanted from a selfish point of view, and for the, like I said, the reputation of football club, that no one could dare say, oh, City, oh yeah, they're not going well, they weren't taking it seriously, or Liverpool in bit of transition, and Man United where they are. If you win the double, that proves you're the best. No questions asked. Yeah, the league proves you're the best, but the double proves that you deserved to win it, because your mentality states categorically that, yeah, we were the best team in the country. We took every tournament seriously, and this is proof we're the best. Not by winning the league, but we won the FA Cup as well, which meant we were unbeatable in that competition. That's what I wanted. That's what I demanded. But it's not to be, is it? So we've got to try and win the Europa League now. That satisfied me.
Yeah, and listen, at the start of the season, everyone's target within the fan base, or the majority of people's target within the fan base, and through our squad, when 4 of our first team members on pre-season came out and said top 4 and Europa League is the aim. So if we don't hit the Europa League and win it, and we end up coming 2nd, 3rd, or even 4th, does that mean, in your eyes, as a person who said top 4 in Europa League will only be acceptable, that the manager and the board and the staff and the team have failed then? Because I don't see that any of these people, if we don't win the Europa League but we just get top 4, are ever going to call it out. But 4 of our first team squad came out in the summer. Granit Xhaka, Aaron Ramsdale, Martin Odegaard and Emile Smith-Rowe all said top 4 in Europa League. And then Edu came out and said, well, no, the time is now to start winning the title. He said that on the 25th of July, which is why I'm holding him to that. That is the standard for the club anyway. Now, listen, at the end of the day, I agree with you, Kenny. I've seen Arsenal win 9 FA Cups in my lifetime. And I've seen Arsenal have fantastic squads winning the FA Cup. And I've seen us have not so fantastic squads winning the FA Cup. At the end of the day, we're not in a luxury position where we can just pick and choose what cups we can and can't bother to go in and win. Like Man City were there for the taking. I think we can all see that. On the flip side of that, the amount of people I'm seeing saying, when they come to the Emirates, we're going to have our full strength squad. Yeah, okay. And they're not going to play in second gear either. Let's be real, because they were in second gear. They had 2 shots on target. It weren't a great game from both teams, and they just took their decent chance. We didn't. Jez, I know you're obviously still fuming about it, mate. You've seen a lot of FA Cup victories as well. Again, like Kenny, being at the ground or just watching on TV. What do you make of all of this, mate? Because I see people just writing off trophies just like it's nothing. Oh, it don't matter. We've got bigger fish to fry. We found We failed to get top 4 last season after throwing the FA Cup away when we had the bigger fish to fry. If we don't win anything this season, and that, to me, that's a failure, because the way we've played so far this season, we should be going on all fronts. Man United, by the way, excuse me, Man United are currently in 4th. They're currently in a League Cup final, unless Nottingham Forest batter them 4-0 next week or this week, whenever it is. I think it's this week. They're in the Europa League still. They've got Barcelona, and they progressed into the next round of the FA Cup. Man United's squad isn't that great either. So how are Man United doing it, and we're just throwing cups away willy-nilly? That makes no sense to me, mate.
Mate, look, this is what I find so ironic. People are saying, "Oh, we've got to win the league and the European trophy." Okay, we know Arsenal have not got a bloody great history in Europe. 2 trophies, going back over many, many, many years. So, personally, people saying, "Oh, well, we can't compete in the Premier League and the FA Cup with this squad." Do they honestly believe, with this weak squad, that we can win the Premier League and the Europa League? Are you mad? I think you've got a far better chance. I think rephrase. I think we've got a far better chance of winning the FA Cup and the league with this squad than we've got of winning the Premier League and a European trophy. Sorry, we're getting into that Europa League now. There's going to be a different game now. We've got through the group stage, and we're now going into the big boy time. And does anybody really think that's achievable? Sorry, I don't. I've seen how Arsenal capitulate in European leagues, and we're not great. We are not great in Europe. And no, I think we should. Yeah, I'd love us to see us win a European trophy. Absolutely. Broke my heart in the European Cup when we lost to Barcelona. Personally, I still say we were cheated, but there we go. But yeah, no, we got throwing away the FA Cup, the oldest cup in world football history, and we dismiss it. I just don't get that. I really just don't understand it, Lee, and it seriously pees me off when I see people saying, "Well, yeah, but it's only the FA Cup." You've got to be 12 years old, mate. People say that because you obviously don't understand what the affinity Arsenal Football Club has with the FA Cup.
Mate, it wasn't only the FA Cup when we won it 3 years ago, was it? It was the biggest thing in the world when we win it, isn't it? Oh, yes, it's great. We won it. We didn't get top 4, but we won the cup. And then we don't bother even trying to win it this year. It don't matter. Could be a fish. Like the arrogance of our fans at times and the arrogance of this manager at times, especially in this competition where he's knocked us out 3 years in a row, 1-0, 3 times, Southampton, Forest and Man City, to go and do something that we then didn't do. Yeah. I'm baffled, Jez. I really am. And I see a lot of people sitting there saying, yeah, but we got to go for the league. Oh, okay. Well, do you think we'll win it then? Well, I don't know. We're not favourites. We'll make your mind up then. So we've thrown away a potential cup competition that we have won more than anyone to maybe not win a title. But maybe win it as well. It's a flip of a coin. Depends how we act. Depends how we play. Depends on a lot of things. The cup competitions. Oh, but we don't need the extra games. These are just, we haven't got a big enough squad. Well, why were you all giving 8 out of 10 transfer windows in the summer then? When we weren't? Like, it's just a merry-go-round. It just goes round and round and round in a circle with the excuses. Yeah, at the end of the day, if we do not win anything this season, that is a failure. Because this, so far, up until the end of January, 30th of January, as we're doing this live show, we have been the best team in the league, even without having the best squad in the league. And let's not forget, we were playing Europa League games as well as Premier League games, which was in between the season, and we had a World Cup in between, and we've come back and we're still top, and we've only lost 1 game. So we can compete on multiple fronts. I just don't understand why we have just dismissed it throw it in the bin. Don't matter.
Well,
Makes no sense.
Let's look at the facts there, Lee. 98, when we did the double, yeah? We didn't have that much more of a bigger squad at that point in time. And we were in Europe competing, and we did the double. Let's go back to a point in time with a certain Mr. George Graham in 1989. We were competing on 3 fronts then with not much of a bigger squad. And we went away to Anfield and won the league on their bloody doorstep. So I just don't get this. If you've got the right squad, okay, and I'll say this, the right manager, you can do it. You can do it. But that is when the Arsenal Football Club had a different mentality. The fan base had a different mentality. And actually, I'll show you something, actually. How we used to compete. I went up to my old transfer. I don't think you can see that.
There we go. Well, we could a minute ago. There we go. There we go.
89 Anfield programme, when I had belief in this team, this fan base, and we were a different animal. We were a different animal. We actually said we're going to do it. We're going to win it.
And this is the thing as well, lads, right? In them days, I think you were allowed 1 sub.
Yes.
Was it 1 sub? So we had
2.
a squad. Yeah, well, let's say 2. We had a squad of, 13 players then? Yes, obviously the squad was a little bit bigger, but you could only use 13 players per game, maximum. Now we're talking about a squad of 15, 18, 20, 21, and we ain't got enough players. We've got a bench now that consists of Kieran Tierney, Tommy Yasu, who I keep getting told is one of the best right-backs on the planet, the way people are boosting him up. Yeah, he's an all right back. He's a utility guy. He's basically our James Milner. That's it. He's all right. He's not like lighting anything up, but he's all right. So we've got Tierney, we've got him. Fabio Vieira, I was told when we signed him, was going to be our Bernardo Silva. Even Emil Smith-Rowe came out and said that, which got the fan base giddy. Well, we barely see him play. So there's 3. We've got Lokonga, who ain't good enough. We've got Rob Holding, who ain't good enough. We've got El Neni, who is injured, but he's, again, not great, but he'll do. And now we've just signed Trossard and Kivior. So the bench isn't as bad as going up to Anfield in 89 and only being able to use 2 players off the bench against the best team on the planet. Yeah, it's also not as bad as some of the benches we've seen over the years as Arsenal fans in this banter era. It's also not as bad as some of the times where we have gone and got top 4 and won an FA Cup. Yeah, and listen, if we win the title, great, fantastic. I think we'd all start the season and say we'd have the title over the FA Cup. But if we don't win anything, nobody's going to come back and say and hold any of them accountable for knocking us out to City when they were there for the taking. Yeah, great, we put up a bit of a fight. They didn't spank us. That's all I kept seeing. Oh, they ain't spanked us. Yeah, cool, they didn't spank us because they weren't really interested in playing the game themselves. Like, let's be real. Yeah, and I know Pep normally goes for these competitions. Did he look asked whether he was getting knocked out or not? Probably. He was just chilling. Yeah, it was just chilling. Like, the way the cups have been dismissed in English football is a travesty, if I'm being completely honest. Right, money, Champions League, top 4, etc., has totally killed off these cups. But then when Arsenal win a cup, it's the greatest thing ever in the history books of cup competition that Arsenal have won it. Yeah, because it's then used as, oh, yeah, but he's won the cup. And, oh, but Wenger won it 7 times. Okay, but the same cup that you don't care if we're knocked out of. So why are you then using that as part of your argument to keep a manager for 10 years too long? Yeah, it makes no sense to me. But listen, we can sit and argue and like say our piece all we like. It don't really matter. We're out the cup. We can't change it. I agree with what you were saying about the Europa League. I don't think we're winning that. Yeah, and it's not just because we lost in Baku, like somebody said in the chat. It's because we have no history of actually winning anything in my lifetime, really, in Europe. Yes, obviously Alan Smith and all of that, but I've not really seen us win anything. I've seen us get to a semi-final against Man United and get knocked out, and I've seen us lose a final. I've seen us lose the UEFA Cup final. You know, I've seen us lose a Europa League final. We've got no tradition or history really in competing and winning major honours in Europe. So the fact that our fan base at the start of the season was all hyped about we have to get top 4 and Europa League, I think they're forgetting there's quite a lot of good teams in European competitions right now in that Europa League that have got a steady run of history and tradition in European competition. They know how to get over the line. It's embedded in their clubs. We haven't.
Can I just say finally about the FA Cup, mate? I remember an interview with the great late, rest in peace, Pele, when he finally was retiring from first-class football. He was interviewed on TV, and he said, and this TV reporter said to him, "You've won everything in world football." And he said, "Well, no, I haven't. I never won the FA Cup."
FA Cup. Yeah. It's true. It's true. And unfortunately, mate, money has killed off these cups. Yeah, from back in the day, Arsene Wenger and Sir Alex Ferguson were throwing out youth teams in these competitions. Look at the League Cup final when we lost to Chelsea. Drogba scored twice. Yeah, that was a youth team in that final.
It was
like ridiculous. We've got to a final and you've just thrown it by playing a load of kids. The amount of trophies we could have won more over the last 20 years or 30 years or so, yeah, is actually scandalous just because of stupid decision making. But this is why they get paid a lot of money and they live by the sword and they die by that same sword. It is what it is. But Kenny, let's move on. Let's get some more positive things. Now we've got all the negatives out of the way. The transfer window. So far, we've signed Trossard, we've signed Kivior.
Yes.
And we've put 2 bids in that have been swiftly rejected by Brighton for Caicedo.
Yes.
Firstly, are you happy with the 2 that we signed? And do you think we're going to get Caicedo? And if not, are we going to get somebody else instead by tomorrow's deadline?
Well, the thing is that I've been having arguments and discussions with loads of Arsenal fans. A majority think, yeah, if we really want to play, we need to pay the valuations. And others are saying, well, don't. Is he really worth that money? I'm one of those people who think, you know what, if the club have gone that, if we have to get used to the fact that if a club has put a valuation on a player, you pay it. Okay? If they don't, because let's be honest, a Premiership club doesn't need to sell. Not one of them need to sell. Not even the worst club in the Premiership needs to sell, because the simple reason is that they're guaranteed money through their TV deals. Plus, they've got the parachute payment. They don't have to sell their best players. If you really want their best players, you have to. They'll give you a price. Is right? Meet me price, and that's it. That's exactly what happened with even 30 years ago when we got Ian Wright. 31 years ago, 32 years ago actually, when Palace said he wasn't for sale. Nodes said, right, you have to pay X, Y, Z, and Dean went, yeah, all right, go on then. And Nodes went, oh, and he couldn't get out of it. And I think that's the thing. Some valuations are £80 million, others are £100 million. The fact is, you ask any Arsenal fan to do the sort of what I call the sort of A to Z or Z to A, and you go up to them and said, do we need cover for Partey? Yes. If Partey gets injured, is our league title run in jeopardy? Yes. Do we need to get a DM in now? Yes. Okay, there's a DM at Brighton. Brighton say he's not for sale. The player is trying to force for a move. He's been told to stay away from training until the transfer deadline finished. The player's manager is saying that we don't want him to go, we want him to stay, but he knows the mechanics of the transfer system, and he says we are Brighton FC. So, as far as I'm concerned, the heading message is Brighton won't sell, but if you tempt them with the offer of how they value the player, you're getting the player. And I'm sorry, I've said it once, I'll say it 1,000 times. You're not a top 4 club anymore, and that's Arsenal's words. So if you're not a top 4 club, pay the right prices for the right player, because at the end of the day, where I come from, you don't need to sell. then you have to make someone an offer that they can't refuse. We've made 2 offers that they can refuse because it's nowhere near the valuation. Some say 80 million, some say 85 million, others say 100 million. As I said before, don't go around telling everyone all and sundry that, oh, if Arsenal really want a player, then they're going to get him. Well, you really want Caicedo, so go and prove it and pay the money. It's not my money. It's not our money. The fact is, it's short term. You haven't won the league for 19 years. And let's face it, you will be in contention. But let's remember one thing. Liverpool won their first title in 30 years. The season afterwards, they just about got the top 4. The season afterwards, they finished by 2 points. This season, nowhere. So you've got to chat. You've got to bite someone's hand off, or poke the bear if you really want to win the league. Because I tell you now, if Thomas Partey gets injured, we're not winning the league. You've heard it first in this show. I repeat, we are not winning the league without Thomas Partey. Thomas Partey is our team, not Xhaka, not Saka. Certainly not Odegaard. It's Thomas Partey. You take him out of that team, forget it, mate. All that fear that we've instilled into the opposition will just go just like that, and we'll be lucky. We'll be finishing the top 4, but we'll be nowhere near winning this title. We'll be giving the title to City on a plate.
No, 100%. It is a good point as well. If you were going to go and buy a pair of Nike Air Max, are they worth 120 quid that you're going to pay for them? They're not. But if you want them, you get them, didn't you? It depends whether your want is and needs for these trainers outweighs the money. And the fact is, we've just seen the team that we're going to battle for the title with, if we do continue to battle, get rid of one of their best players to Bayern Munich on loan. Cancelo is in Munich signing the paperwork as we speak. It's a done deal, loan with an option to buy him for 70 mil in the summer. Yeah, and that's just weakened them. And now we should be actively sitting there saying, boy, we need a midfielder. Like you said, Kenny, Thomas Partey gets any sustained period of injury, we're doomed. Yeah, because he is very similar to Casemiro at Man United. If he's not in the team, we look completely different. When he's in the team, levels better. So if he does get injured, Caicedo can come in. The fact that all these accountants within our fan base are sitting there saying, oh, it's too much money. Well, it ain't your money. The fact that, but we're going to buy him for 80 million to sit him on the bench. Yeah. Man City have got £100 million player sits on the bench every other game. Yeah, and Jack Grealish. Yeah, do you know what I'm saying? Like, unfortunately, that's the way football is. It's not like you've got the £100 million man has to start every week. If you want a player that badly for your squad and he's going to elevate your squad and make your squad better, then I'm sorry, I don't care if it costs £1 billion. It ain't my money. What about you, Jez?
Mate, look, at the end of the day, I just don't understand all this. Oh, it's too much money. Oh, we haven't got the money. Well, clearly we have. And I've been saying this for years and years and years on your show, Lee. Arsenal have got pocket loads of bleeding money. So forget all that. It ain't my money. All right, we give money to the club. When you buy things, you go to games. That's fair play. But it's not actually coming out of your back pocket. You know, it goes, Arsenal earn millions and millions and millions of pounds through sponsorships, all kinds of stuff that I haven't got a clue about. So I don't care. If we're serious, you do the deal. As that guy said earlier, if you want to buy these Nike shoes, 120 quid, they're not worth it. They probably cost a tenner, if that, to make.
Yeah.
If you want it, you'll buy them. If that's what it's what floats your sodding boat, then you'll buy them. One of my things in life, I like very good wines. All right. People say to me, "Oh, that's ridiculous. Why would you spend that on a bottle of wine?" Because I effing like it. And if I want it, I'll buy it. And I'll enjoy it. So is that a problem? No, not to me. So if we want to buy this player, just buy him. Don't pontificate and mess around. Just do the damn deal. Simple. End of story.
This is a good comment from a Chelsea fan. You all battered Todd Bowley. Now look, he has shown rivals how stingy your owners are. And now you're seeing how stingy they are over a couple of extra million to get your targets in for Arteta. That's a great comment as well, Jack, because Arteta's done his job. Yeah, Arteta's got to the top of the table with 5 points gap and a game in hand against a team that have spent, more money than us in the last 10 years. Yeah, we've spent a lot of money. I think they've nearly doubled it or 50% on top of it. And they've got the best manager, the best squad, and some of the best individual players in this league as well. And the fact that we are top above them with 5 points ahead with a game in hand shows how well a job Arteta has done this season. Yeah, me personally, I don't necessarily think it's the ownership here that is the issue. I think it's Edu's negotiating skills that are the issue. Because every time we come down to a massive deal of Vlahovic, a Mudryk, Rafinha, and people say Rafinha wanted Barca, cool, whatever. I'm pretty sure if we offered him 100 grand a week more than Barca and paid Leeds an extra 5 million quid, he would be signed for Arsenal. Yeah, because it all comes down to money. So let's stop going down this route of it ain't money. They're all motivated by money. Most of these players couldn't give a toss about the club they play for. Most of them couldn't care less about the fans. And most of them don't really care about football. Like, let's just be honest. They're just good at football. So I don't necessarily agree with the ownership side of things with us, because we've spent about 400 odd million quid since this manager has been here. Yeah, that ownership has allowed him to do that. Yeah, and Josh, to be fair, when he said, I would say be excited and all of that one, well, I'm kind of excited we're sat top of the league. Yeah, it might have took him 3.5 years, but we're sat top of the table. Now it's down to Edu to go and close big money deals. Like, you can't just go and get a player for 5 million quid anymore and he's going to transform your team. Unless you have great networking and scouting like Brighton have by going and finding him in the first place. But then are we shopping in a different market? Yeah, because they're going out there based on what their income is as a football club. Our income and our resources are a lot bigger than theirs. So we're probably not even looking at the kid that was 4 million quid, 5 million when they signed Caicedo. Yeah, but now he's in the shop window. He's in the Premier League window. All of a sudden, he could fit our team now. And now they're saying 80, 90 million or whatever. We'll pay it then. And if you're not paying it, go and find another player by 11 o'clock tomorrow night that is equally as good, that can slot into our team and play where Granit Xhaka plays and play where Thomas Partey plays. Because if either of them get injured, yeah, touch wood they don't, then we're kind of shafted, because where's the midfielder on the bench? Sambi Lokonga ain't it. El Neni's injured. Smith Rowe's injured. And Vieira just ain't it. Yeah, so we need a guy that can cover versatile and cover them 2 spots. Granit Xhaka has been fantastic. So has Thomas Partey. But where is the cover for them 2? One man can cover both of them spots. Equally as good, by the way. So that means that's a necessity for our squad. So on that basis, who cares how much it costs? If Edu can't get that deal done, he needs to go and buy Declan Rice. If he can't get that done, he needs to go and buy the lad from Everton, or Nana. If he can't get that done, go and buy the lad from Real Sociedad. Yeah, Zubamendi. If he don't get us a midfielder by 11 o'clock tomorrow night, he should walk or be sacked. Yeah, because he has left that midfield completely bare. And that is not acceptable when the manager has got us to the top of the table and the ownership have actually put up and shut up. After years of not hearing from them, Josh Kroenke's finally come out and said, no, we are looking to do this. We are looking to get better and we are trying to challenge. Well, since he said that, we've spent a lot of money. Yeah. Are they holding Edu back? I don't think so. I don't. I think that we've got the money. And I think it's Edu and his negotiating team that are flopping right now. That's just me. I don't know. Maybe the chat think different. What do you think about Edu, Kenny? Do you think that it's him, or do you think it's somebody else at the club? Maybe the ownership is holding us back.
No, I don't think. I think what it is it's about the valuation and about the difference between whether we think the players what we're prepared to pay. I think, let's face it, it's easy to talk about the Kroenkes and Edu, and obviously he's the person in possession. But at the end of the day, he's the negotiator. The club are the ones who've got to provide him with the cash. You know what I mean? I think we've been having discussions like about this even when Wenger was here, and I'm sure that we were always having discussions in the sort of the mid '80s, late '80s, definitely about George. By George, it was always a thing with Arsenal. We've we've always had the money, but we've always never really spent big in terms of meeting players' valuations. And I think the case here is that we've just disagreed on what we think Brighton's what Brighton think the player's worth. Brighton won't sell. As I said earlier, they don't need to sell, don't want to sell. We really want the player, but we think that Brighton are off their heads by quoting, figures between 80 and 100 million, which, we're entitled to say that. But I think the situation is that short-termism has to be, like I said, take over here. I understand the long-term implications. I understand the implications is that if we spend all that money, we're going to be short in other areas in terms of negotiating other players' contracts and getting other players in. But really and truly,
sorry to cut you off there, Kenny, but are we? Because since Arteta's come in, we have wiped off over £1 million a week off the wage bill.
That's the thing. We have, and that's the thing. The thing about it is that it's purely down to how much the club want the player, how much. If the club really want a player, then they have to, accept that it's not enough to just, settle the player and probably do like secret deals and agree personal terms behind Brighton's back. You still got to deal. Once you've done that, you've got to deal with Brighton. And the fact is, time's running out. If you want a player, then Edu needs to go to the club and say, right, they're not budging. They won't accept 70 million. They say they don't want 75 million. They want 80 million plus. I've done the work. It's down to you to provide the money. If you can provide the money, I can get the player. So Edu needs to go to the club or Josh and say, look, this is Brighton's valuation. We need the player. I've done the scouting. I spoke to Mikel. Mikel wants the player. Mikel needs the player. Mikel says he's a great addition to the squad. Get him. Mikel wants him now. We're going for the league. That's all Edu has to do. Edu has to do. He's done all the groundwork. He's done everything else. It's a phone call, text, email, whatever they call it, to the club, WhatsApp, boom. Release the funds. Because remember, Arsenal have offered them £60 million up. I believe they offered quite a lot of money up front. So if they offer that up front, they could do the add-ons.
Exactly, and that's my point. You just said that if Arteta wants the player, then surely Edu's got to go and get this player for him. Like we missed out on Mudryk, a player that he wanted, because again we had a set valuation and we weren't prepared to meet that. We seem like we're the only club or big club that seem to have this. Somebody put in the chat a minute ago, this has been going on for 15 years. So it's not like it's a new thing. Different sets of board members, different sets of negotiating members, different managers. And it's always we're haggling over a couple of million here, 5 million there. We're in a position where we could go on and win a title for the first time in nearly 2 decades. Some of these people in the chat have never seen us win a title. We all know what it feels like to win a title. Like, imagine how buzzing everyone would be if we was to win a title. Like literally everyone would be absolutely buzzing that we've won a title. Some of them, it would be the first time they've ever seen us win a title. And the club need to think of that as well. The club need to look at it and say, look, if Arteta wants this player, we've got to go and get him the player because they've backed him, they've trusted him. They could have sacked him 50 times over the last 3.5 years, and they didn't because they trusted him. So on that basis alone, if he wants him, go and pay the money. That could be the difference between us winning it and not winning it. But what do I know? Big up to everyone inside, man. There's over 1,000 people watching. Make sure you sub to JEZ'S channel and Kenny's Insta. The links are in the description of the video. Not enough likes on the video, not even 250. Come on, people. You're moving like Edu on the Caicedo deal. You still have a Muppet as a manager. He won the FA Cup with VAR, with Emery's team, and got you out the league and FA Cup. Won't win the Europa League, maybe the Prem. Excuse me. Well, listen, Unai Emery did get us to the quarterfinals, and VAR did save our backsides against Sheffield United twice in that game. So, listen, he's still got to win it. And this is why I was so upset that we got knocked out of it, because the best team doesn't always win a knockout competition. We've seen that so many times, man. Wigan, when they won it, they beat Man City in the final. Birmingham beating us in a final. Portsmouth won a cup final. The best team doesn't always win it. So, did Portsmouth when they won the cup, did they have a squad good enough to compete on two or three fronts? Well, they won the cup. Do you know what I'm saying? I'm quite sure their fans don't give a toss. They won the cup. Wigan got relegated and won the cup. Yeah, but then Wigan fans will never forget that day out of Wembley. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah.
And despite how trash their club is now. But it is what it is. It is what it is. But anyway, listen, big up to everyone anyway. Go on, mate.
So in mitigation, I think B Life's got a point, because if you look at the teams that have won the the major competitions, it's probably 2005. It's quite rare for a team outside the current top sixes or top fives of their time to win a trophy. You think about it, Wigan won it in 2013, the FA Cup. Swansea won the League Cup in 2013. Portsmouth won the FA Cup in 2008. Apart from that, obviously, you've got Leicester winning it in 2020. Apart from that, every team that's was part of the top four of their time or part of the current top six have all won a trophy. So I think what's happened is that what it's shown is that the big clubs either win the FA Cup or the League Cup to prove their their supposed invincibility during the season, or they have to win the cup to salvage their season because they're a big club, they've got a big name, they've got to win the cup. And I think that's why I like I said, endorse your disappointment, endorses JEZ'S anger as well, because the simple reason is that it is to really get my goat when Arsene Wenger used to prioritise the Champions League above everything else, because we had great opportunities to win cups or even get the finals and challenge the best teams. So again, I reiterate that point. If a top club takes the League Cup and FA Cup seriously, they're winning it. Simple. They're winning it because history says they will.
Don't be surprised if Man United win both the cups. Yeah, do not be surprised one bit. They're already in the final because Forest ain't coming back in that game. That's game over. Yeah, they slapped them up 3-0. There's no way Forest are getting 4-0 win up at Old Trafford. That ain't happening. Yeah, you can bet as much money with me as you want. They are not winning 4-0 against Man United. So they're in the final. Newcastle and Southampton, you'd have to say Newcastle to get through, so it'll be Newcastle Man United final. That'd be a good final. But if Man United or Newcastle win it, it's irrelevant to me who wins it. But if we don't end up winning anything this season, one of them three, well, you could throw Southampton into that mix because it's not guaranteed Newcastle will get through. So Southampton, Newcastle, or Man United, one of them three are going to win a cup this season. Right? Man United are still in 3 cups and they're currently 4th. If we don't win anything, they would have had a better season than us, one of them 3 clubs, because one of them is going to win the League Cup. A trophy is better than no trophy. And that is why I'm so peed off that we're sitting faffing around a day before deadline day and we've still not got in a midfielder that we desperately needed in the summer. When we were sat on these shows back in the summer after the transfer window shut and the season was starting again, we were all sitting there a little bit upset that we hadn't gone and got somebody in. Well, we're now sat here on the 30th of June and we still ain't got someone in. Like, yes, it's fantastic we signed Trossard. What a player. Fantastic player. The Polish lad, I don't really know a great deal about him, but I'll tell you one thing, he's definitely better than Rob Holding. Yeah, I've seen enough of Rob Holding to know this lad is better, and I ain't even watched him play. Yeah, so, he's not going to be as dopey on the pitch as Rob Holding. So them 2 signings have been very, very good signings. But now we're still light on the midfielder we needed 6-7 months ago.
You only talk about striker though.
Well, without having that backup midfielder, but now for the final part of the season, which is like the crucial part of the season now, we have to get that done by tomorrow night. And if we don't get a midfielder in there that's of a decent level, then I don't know. I'll be very, very pissed off. I can't lie.
Guys, the biggest elephant in the room is, but because it's been dwarfed, the elephant has actually been dwarfed. Although it's difficult to dwarf an elephant by this Caicedo deal. Well, what if Eddie gets injured?
Well, we did say we needed a striker in the summer as well, but what do we know?
Balogun's goal yesterday against PSG.
Yeah, he beat PSG in stoppage time with it. Mad, isn't it? I think he's scored 12 goals now. and 20 appearances in that league.
Yeah.
So he's doing all right, isn't he? But look, at the end of the day, when we were handing out 3, 4s and 5s for a transfer window in the summer and we were told we were negative, well, we did say we needed a centre-back. We've now finally got that. We did say we needed a winger. We've now finally got that. We did say we needed a striker. Well, we still ain't got him yet. And we did say we needed someone to back up Thomas Partey and or Xhaka, and we still ain't got him yet. So if we go and get that player, Caicedo, well, that covers that midfielder. We're still a striker short. But I think that we could kick on and win the league. I still think we've got a great chance, even without signing Caicedo. But at the same time, every time Thomas Partey or Granit Xhaka go down injured, we're going to be holding our breaths because that could be the end of our season right there. Real talk. Yeah, and I don't know what the most amount of games Thomas Partey's played in a row is for Arsenal, but I can't imagine it being more than 15 in a row. And we got 19 league games plus Europa League games. So we're going to have to dress him up in cotton wool if we're going to get him through the season. We see him go off at half-time against City the other day. The whole team looked a mess after that.
Yeah, it was.
I don't know. Anyway, listen, we are going to wrap this up in a minute. Lads, anything you want to talk about quickly before we wrap up?
No.
Well, not really. I just think, 11 o'clock tomorrow is going to be massive in general. I think realistically, I don't expect any business to be done tomorrow, but it'd be nice if it does. So I'm giving us a 10% chance of getting a couple of players in, only 10%. But I'm sure everyone will be waiting by their radios, their TVs, everything to see if it happens. But I think that there's going to be a final bid, and after that, no more. We're going to just say, all right, thanks. We'll try again in the summer with someone else.
And then you just think like that's it. We're not going to go and look at an alternative, no.
No, I don't. Well, there's talk about other players as well from other clubs, But again, I think the club probably will look at alternative, but I can't see us getting anyone other than what's the name, Caicedo. But you know what? The beauty of the whole situation is that we're on the outside. We're basically the poor man looking at the rich man's table. And they got more knowledge, and they got probably 3 or 4 mobile phones going, and they're probably doing business quietly without our knowledge. So we're there to be surprised at 11 o'clock, mate.
Well, listen, the one thing I will say is we still have time. Brighton is not a million miles away from London. Yeah, it's 2 motorways away. Yeah, it's 1 plane journey away. You could get a plane. In fact, you could get a train to Croydon in half an hour and then get picked up from Croydon. So it's not a million miles away. There is still time to get this Caicedo deal done. In fact, he doesn't even necessarily have to come to London to get it done. So it can be done. If it doesn't get done and we end up without signing a midfielder of any level, and I don't just mean some backup like Douglas Luiz, that ain't good enough. I want a decent level midfielder in here. He's the guy for me. I'll take him over Rice. I'd take him over the lad from Real Sociedad, and I'd take him over Onana from Everton as well. And the fact that we wasted the first 2 weeks of the transfer window chasing after Mudryk and didn't get him. Yeah, and cool. To me personally, I'm more than happy with Trossard, but we should have been looking at this midfielder in the summer, and especially in this window if we didn't do it in the summer, which we didn't. And the fact that we're going down to the death and we still haven't got a midfielder in, they better get a midfielder by tomorrow. Otherwise, I can see some issues here. But it is what it is. But listen, I'm going live with Dan Potts in a second. So I'll get you the link for that, people. And we're going to talk about the FA Cup. And we are also going to talk about the transfer window, I'd assume. Yes, he's put Caicedo in the thumbnail as well. Did we disrespect the FA Cup is the title. So make sure you come and check out me and Dan Potts. I'm sticking the link in now. Jez, what you got coming up, mate? Jez's link is in the description, people. So sub to Jez.
I did a bit last week, history stuff, which got well received, actually. So I'm going to continue at some point this week. I might well do, I will do a transfer reaction show, probably maybe Wednesday. It's the weekly podcast at 6 o'clock on Wednesday evening with Kenny. I've got Arsenal Alex, another YouTuber, coming on. I don't know if you're about, Lee, if you want to join.
What time Wednesday, mate?
6 o'clock, mate.
Yeah. Count me in. Count me in.
Yeah, it's always great to have you on. Actual funny, I've got to tell you this. I did say on Alex's chat, he's done some great shows recently, and I said, "Oh, do you want to join on Wednesday night for a podcast?" And he said, "Oh, I'd love to." I said, "Well, you probably have Lee and Kenny on." He, oh, that's a bit nervy. That's a bit nervy. And I said, "Why? They're really nice fellas." So 6 o'clock. That's always a great show. And I'm going to do some more. The next one, history-wise, is going to be David Seaman, iconic manager. And once I've done him, Jens Lehmann, I'm going to go into defenders. And there's loads of them. So,
yeah.
What do you do, Willie Young?
Willie Young. Oh, God. Actually, I had a question for you, Kenny. I forgot when I'll catch you Wednesday night with it. I'll catch you Wednesday.
What you got coming up, Kenny?
I've got nothing. I've believe it or not, I've got people phoning me all over the place doing repairs. A business deals. Someone's proposing a business deal, and they won't leave me alone. So I had to leave the room and say, "Can you please do not call me on the Mondays? That's podcast day. It's like I'm having an audience with the king of the UK." You know what happens when you have an audience with a king? You do not disturb. I've got to put do not disturb sign all over my person, my phone, my front door, everything. You know what I mean?
I don't know why you don't already. My phone's on do not disturb 24/7 and it's on silent.
Lee, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? Technology. The minute I get involved with technology, two things will happen. You know what? As we speak, I've just heard Marquinhos is on the way. He's on his way to Norwich.
Yeah.
On a loan move.
So makes sense, I suppose, doesn't it? Makes sense.
Yeah, Marquinhos.
Anytime soon.
He's on the way. He's finalising the loan move, and Chelsea looks like they're selling them. Buying agreeing a fee for Enzo Fernandez. So yeah,
madness. Actually, madness.
Don't forget to send me that what we talked about.
Yeah, 100%, man. Listen, big up to everyone in here, man. There's still 750 in here. Look at the cups.
Look at that.
Come on.
I might put these on the site as merch. They're not a lot. Kenny, yours is done, and it's going to be winging its way to you tomorrow.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Big up to everybody in here, man. There's still 750 in here. So sub to the channel, subscribe to JEZ'S, follow Kenny's Insta, both links in the description. Smash the like button before you leave. Dan Potts' link is in the chat. I will spam it again a couple more times. Go and spam Dan Potts' chat with rat and flip-flop emojis, because obviously we're all flip-flops and rats this season. So yeah, man, it's all good. And big up to everybody who clocked my rat has flip-flops on him. He's got yellow Havianas on in the corner. So big up to Melissa who done that for me. But yeah, I'm going live with Dan Potts now. And then straight after that, at 7 o'clock, I'm on with Henry Wright TV. So plenty more to come. Then I've got to record a couple of videos as well. But we're out of here, people. Adios, amigos. Ciao.
See you later. Right on, mate. Right on, mate.